And welcome to the third episode of Populism and Powerbombs. So last week, the episode, I don't know what happened. I think I turned the volume down on the microphone, and I didn't see it. And so if you happen to see it, I'm just fucking talking there's nobody and you can't hear anything. So I do apologize for that. Uh, See if I can fix that, or maybe I can't. I don't know. Anyway, last week, because you didn't hear it, I'll let you know. We went through uh, the Toronto City Council seats, and I gave my thoughts on who I thought would um, not not run, or whose seat I thought was in jeopardy, or and the common theme that I came away with was that it would take the right candidate and a strong campaign, or I think I said a strong candidate with a strong campaign to unseat the incumbent. So we'll see what happens there. We are going to run through, because May 1st has come and gone. It is the beginning of um, the sign up period, the registration. That's the word I'm looking for. The registration period for Toronto City Council. Um, and we're going to go through names. I was not able to be there like I was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, when I was part of the municipals with Philip Mills, we went and we made a day of it, and we interviewed candidates. And, we talked to a lot of big names, and we made a lot of contacts when we were there. So I wasn't able to go this time. So I just have what I see in front of me. So far, running for mayor, we have the he calls him, he is a frontliner because he's a current city council member, is Brad Bradford, who happens to be the city councilor for Ward 19, Beaches, East York. Uh, he is the presumptive conservative frontrunner until somebody else joins. So we'll see what happens with him, and hopefully we can have him on the show. And then we have a gentleman by the name of Corey DeVille. I think I've had him on one of my other shows before. He's a smart guy. I don't know if he's still part of the municipal socialist group. I can't even remember what they're called. And then there's Laura Ellis, Mr. Zio Huagong. I think he ran for the by-election, and I remember his signs were all over. Uh, he had a lot of signs, but specifically, I remember like every 6 feet or maybe 7 or 8 feet, um, he had signs going down Bayview. I remember that specifically, and a few other streets. It was crazy the amount of signs. Peter Hangis, I think I've heard of him before. He's uh, it'd be interesting to talk to him. Someone named Heather I've never heard of her. Someone named Isidorus Kirlangjitsis. Again, apologize if I mispronounce your name. There's probably going to be a little bit of that today. And I've never heard of her before, him or her. I'm not sure. And we'll see what happens. You have candidates that obviously sometimes the first time you never heard of them, and then they make such a splash. I go back to 4 years ago, uh, Chloe Brown. She literally came out of nowhere, and she made a huge impact. And although she didn't win, she turned heads and people paid attention to her. She put herself on the map. So, you always have that um, going for you. Okay, so we also have someone by the name of Sarah McVie. Once again, it's a name I'm not familiar with. Lyle Sanders is a name I've heard before. I'm not sure if we've spoken. Maybe it was during a debate. I'm not sure. The name is familiar. And then someone named Wisen Tang. So that is your field so far for the candidates that have registered for the office of the mayor. Uh, a notable name missing is our current mayor, Olivia Chow. We don't know what she's waiting for. Obviously, she's going to run again. I mean, obviously. Names that we were thinking that we're gonna be there. Anthony Fury has already said he's not running. Mark Saunders. I'm not sure if he's running. I haven't seen anything. You guys can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen anything from him. There's another name I'm missing. When it comes to me, I'll think of it. Anyway, let's move on to the individual council races. So for Ward 1 Etobicoke North, current sitting councillor is Vincent Crisanti, and he has not registered yet, but two individuals have registered. Someone that goes by the name of Ala Adib and Sama Babar. I've never heard of these names before, so these are new names, and it's good. Again, the more people that put their name out there to get familiarized themselves with municipal politics, the better we are, in my opinion. Uh, okay. Ward 2, Etobicoke Center. The only person who has put their name on so far, the current city councillor for that ward is Stephen Holiday. He is not registered yet, but I assume he's running. The only other person who is registered is Jennifer Alexander. You guys, Jennifer Alexander, we go back a little bit. I met her during I believe the last election cycle. She's been on the municipals to help cover the municipal by-election in 2023. So we're very familiar with her. She runs a nice, I don't want to insult it by calling it a column. It's actually a nice following under her banner, the Etobicoke Voice, which I hope if she does get elected, that will continue. I think that she's very dedicated. She's very, very good for the community, actually. She defends bike lanes and she defends the little people more so than maybe others. So I really like that about her, and I think that she would be a good city councillor, in my opinion. No one has registered for Ward 3 Etobicoke Lakeshore yet. The current councillor is Amber Morley. I assume, once again, that she's going to run. If she was going to jump into either federal or provincial politics, she would have done that. There have been opportunities. For Ward 4, Parkdale High Park. So it's come out that the current city councilor, Gord Perks, is retiring. And so it's going to be like an open seat. And whenever that happens, people they throw their names into the hat. And so we have a woman by the name of Nadia Guerrera, and that name's familiar to me because she has run in that riding. I believe it was provincially. I'm almost positive it was provincially, and obviously she didn't win because now she's running municipally. Another woman by the name of Diana Chan McNally is running. She is a big time, I would say, community leader in terms of safe injection sites and helping with the homeless, and also bike lanes and food banks. So we'll see what if she we can get her on the show. Anyone, by the way, that has registered, I'm gonna be contacting you guys to come onto the show. We'll do an interview. I'll ask some questions, and we'll we'll have a nice interview. That's the plan anyway. Anyway, so let's continue. Um, there are three other names here for Parkdale High Park. Uh, Bridget Ogundeep, Adam Pham, and Vanessa Raponi. So we'll see if if we can get these people on. Okay, so we have the next one is Ward 5, York Southwestern. I believe this is um, what's her name? Francis Nunziata's um, ward. Let me see here. She is not. Uh, she's not registered to run yet. I don't know if she's going to be running. She might be retiring right along with Gord Perks, but we'll see. Right now, registered is Daniel D. Giorgio, and he's familiar. I think he was a school trustee, and also Chera Padavani, who actually almost beat Francis Nunziata in this election. Was I think was less than 200 votes. Okay, moving along. Ward 6, York Center. Nobody has registered yet, so we'll see what happens there. Ward 7, Humber River Black Creek. I believe that's Anthony Peruz's um, ward. And he is not registered yet, but a woman named Amanda Combs has registered. But we'll see what happens with that. Ward 8, Eglinton Lawrence. Current counselor Mike Cole has registered um, to run again, and also a guy by the name of Daniel Trace, who we've had on the show, the municipals before. He he's very knowledgeable. I like him. He's a straight shooter, and he doesn't he doesn't play around. He's a good dude. So Ward 9, Davenport, nobody has registered there. That would be Councillor Bravo's ward. And then we have Ward 10, Spadina Fort York, which was Osma Malik's ward. She is not registered to run yet, but once again, I assume that she will. Right now, a gentleman by the name of Paul Nash has registered. Okay, so we're up to Ward 11, University Rosedale. And this is where the gentleman Gabriel Blanc has Terry Hawks and Alice Lee. So we'll see what happens with that. Ward 12, Toronto St. Paul's, Josh Matlow's ward. No one has registered yet, so we'll see once again what happens with that. Ward 13, Toronto Centre. This is Councillor Moise's ward. Registered is Weed Kogali Ali, and I think we've had him on a debate before, so I think I know who that is. Another person by the name of Curran and Nikki Ward. We had her on a debate, and she's actually a wonderful, wonderful person. So we'll see what happens with that. Ward 14, Toronto Danforth, nobody has entered. Ward 15, Don Valley West, nobody's entered yet. Same with Ward 16, Don Valley East. Current city councilor Shelley Carroll has re-registered to run in that race, along with a woman by the name of Sabrina Zuniga. So we'll see what happens there. Ward 18, Willowdale. This is Councilor Lily Chang's ward, and she's not registered yet, but I assume she will. And there is a person by the name of Natik Yusufoff. I hope I said that right. Registered to run. Ward 19, Beaches East York. Once again, this is Brad Bradford's current ward. He's running for mayor, so there's going to be at least two new councilors with Gord Perks retiring. Registered so far to run in that race, James Dan, Tyson Legg, Kevin Morrison, and Adam Smith. And other than Adam Smith, I haven't heard the other three names before. I think we had Adam in a debate, so we'll see what happens with those people. Ward 20, Scarborough Southwest. Ariel Rachel Karokis is registered, and my close personal friend Philip Mills has officially registered to be city council. Hopefully, he can get some traction and he can win. I sent out a tweet earlier this week when he registered. He's the guy for me for Scarborough Southwest. Whether you agree with him or not, he will work with you, and I think that's a skill that's missing, because I believe right now we're in a political landscape where you're on one side or you're on the other, and they don't mix, they don't work together. Things get stalled, and it's happening everywhere, even in the United States. You got a Republican president. You have, after the midterms, what I believe is going to be a Democratic House and Senate, and nothing's going to get completed because they can't agree on anything. And he is so polarizing. That's why I'm sorry, Jim Cornette likes to call him President Pig Shit. So do I, and that's what he is. It's just the way it is. God, Philip Mills is the guy for Scarborough Southwest. I really hope that he wins, and I'm going to go out right now and tell you that I'm endorsing Philip Mills for, for Scarborough Southwest, Ward 20. And hopefully he wins. But let's move on to a gentleman by the name of Kristen Verisingham. Familiar name. I'm not sure that we've spoken, but I've seen the name before. So we'll see what happens with that. Ward 22, Scarborough Agincourt. Registered so far. Excuse me. Registered so far is a man named Dan Lovell. So we'll see what happens there. In Ward 23, Scarborough North, Jamal Myers is the current city councilor. He hasn't registered yet, but I assume he will. And in the meantime, registered is Kevin Lee. Scarborough Guildwood, Ward 24. No one has registered yet. And to finish it off, 25, Scarborough Rouge Park. Nobody has, sorry, the current city, Sean Allen has registered to run. So we'll see what happens there. I'm going to be contacting all the candidates that register so that we can get them on for an interview as possibly can. Spread the idea. Find that If a mayor's part of a mayor have a plan because your whatever your want is contingent on the federal government giving you money or the provincial government giving you money. Let's work with what we have, and that is the Toronto police budget. Now, I love the police. They're great people. They're great cops, and they keep the city safe. That is not up for debate. The problem is the budget. John Tory himself said on the radio, I was listening because I drive truck for a living. He said 90% of the police budget is wages. And this was in 2023, he said this. So I can only imagine it's gotten worse, not better. 90% of the police budget is wages. Police budget is around 1.2. I don't know if it's made its way to $1.3 billion. It's ridiculous how big the budget is. And the thing is, we have maybe, is it 5,500 police officers? And then we have there's a staff of like, I think it's 7,700 total employed, but 5,500 are cops. So you have secretaries and stuff like that. So how do you get the best bang for the buck? Well, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and if it's only my opinion, I'm good with that. You retire the mounted unit. You give the horses to the zoo or whatever. That'll save $6 million right off the bat. I'm told that's what the mounted unit costs per year. That's $6 million. I know that's not a lot, but it's a start. The reason that you retire is because they don't, other than community outreach, they don't really serve a purpose. I'm sorry, that's the truth. They're the horses are expensive to take care of. When's the last time anyone, I'll put you on the air. Tell me a story of being arrested by a cop on a horse, please. I would love to hear it. Anyone. So yeah, get rid of the mounted unit. Number 2, I would outlaw overtime. I know I've said, well, you can't do that because of this, because of that, because of that. They're apparently contracted to work events that fall outside their hours, 2 a month or 1 a month or whatever it was. I can't remember. I would outlaw overtime across the board. And you can see that these cops work tons of overtime. Look at the sunshine list. There was one cop, I think it was a couple years ago. There was one cop that made more money than the chief. And I mean, I don't really understand that, but if you outlaw overtime, all the money that you're going to save by paying out the overtime, you can hire more police officers, thus erasing the need for overtime. If you also petition the provincial government to change the Highway Traffic Act to allow traffic and security guards be the one that are at construction sites instead of police officers, that takes the police officer away from doing that, where they can handle more 911 calls. Those are just a couple of the ideas. But you have to go after the number one thing on the city budget, which is the Toronto police budget. The Toronto police have to be willing to work with the city to lower the budget, especially if there's no new funding coming from the province or the federal government. It's completely ridiculous what is happening. You know, we thought we had it bad under John Tory, where he just kind of wouldn't do anything. You know, he just go through the motions. And then, you know, now we have Olivia Chow, who, you know, says everything's great and then dances and then raises taxes and then dances. So there's that. Anyway, I did want to comment on, so this past week, by the way, wrestler inter I've been interacting, you sickos are complete. they're they're very passionate. This is probably the nicest way I can put it, other than saying fuck these sickos. So there's a gentleman by the name of Nick LoPiccolo. Nick LoPiccolo, an agent for, or he was an agent for some of the wrestling stars and shit. And he's connected is the point. He's a connected person. And he has been raked over the coals previously by like Dave Meltzer and members of the IWC who just don't like him and because they don't agree with his opinion. You know, it goes back to the politics thing where you disagree, but you can work together. These people can't work together. An anti AEW. What happens is you get attacked. They don't ever address what you're saying. They just start attacking you. I got a lot of that myself. But anyway, so there's a guy named Nick LoPiccolo, Nick LoPiccolo, whatever the fuck his name is, Nick. And he writes, to every journalist and every podcast who interviews Tony Khan from this day forward. Tony Khan, by the way, is the owner of AEW. His dad owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. His dad owns the Fulham Soccer Club. His dad owns the patent for the car bumper. Tony Khan just happens to be his son. Anyway, so the tweet goes, to every journalist and every podcast who interviews Tony Khan from this day forward, please ask Tony if WBD, that's Warner Brothers Discovery, told him back in August they would not be renewing AEW. WBD told him in August. I confirmed it directly and triple sourced it. Let me see. Please ask Tony please ask why Tony has been acting like nothing is wrong for the last 8 months, and then please ask Tony what his actual distribution plan is, because the only distributor left that will take AEW is Google, which also owns YouTube. Let me see here. And he goes on to say, my AEW app is not realistic. The My AEW app is a death sentence in 2026 if YouTube doesn't make a mega deal for AEW. They started building it too late, and there is no realistic way to scale it. Also, who is going to sell ads for the platform? Kiswe is not the best. They built the My AEW app. They are new to the game. Let me see. Hold Tony's feet to the fire. Paramount is not real for AEW. WBD passed back in August. CW/Roku is now off the table. Amazon and Fox do not want AEW. Ask Tony why he's been lying to you and to the locker room and to the fans, acting like things are all great with the network. I am sure a lot of people would love to hear his answer. So he wrote that, and he's been dealing with crazy pushback from the IWC. And I myself, let me see here. Let me see here. I myself have been dealing with quite a bit. I'm just going to go back here and we're going to go for a little ride. So somebody put a post up at Fadeaway Media. This was a couple days ago, and it reads, just in, AEW will have roughly 12 to 16 months to secure a new television deal with either Paramount Skydance or elsewhere. Paramount, though, already has significant business ties to WWE's parent company, TKO Group. Sources close to Khan say um, he has been told he has told associates that AEW is prepared to move to YouTube, presumably as a temporary placeholder while seeking a new partner. Uh, so then I got into it with this one guy. I'm just trying to find his. Okay, here it is. This guy named Smiling Bob at JXM McKean. He writes, what a stupid comment considering all their top talent are homegrown stars. Some ex WWE people are there, but it's not a lot, he writes. So I wrote, Jericho, FTR, Edge, Christian, Daniel Bryan, Ricochet, Swerve, Moxley, Claudio, Roderick, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Andrade, Big Bill, Billy Gunn, Lashley, Shelton, MVP, Buddy Matthews, Dustin Rhodes, Jeff Jarrett, Johnny TV, Keith Lee, Leo Rush, Mansoor, Mason Madden, Matt Sydal, Paul White, Samoa Joe, Sting, Ciampa, Tony Nese, Athena, Mercedes, Ruby Soho, Serena Deeb, Tony Storm, Justin Roberts, Jim Ross, Renee Paquette, and Taz. That's a lot of ex WWE guys, not a few. Do your research. Do you know what his response was? His response was this: if you think Samoa Joe or Sting are ex WWE guys, then that's all we need to know about you. Plus, over half the people you listed don't wrestle. To be an ex WWE person means their body of work is known because of that company, or they were there for an extended period of time. And I wrote back, no, it means they were in WWE before AEW ever existed. Man, you sickos are grasping at straws. And then he responds, so if somebody was in TNA for 10 years and then in WWE for 3, then they're a WWE guy. Makes no sense, but most of what you put didn't, so no surprise. And then I wrote back, not talking about TNA. You have a lot of trouble sticking to your own parameters. So that was one. And then let me see here. Let's go back. Oops. Let's go back here. Oh, you know what? I'll read this one. This one, we're going to go back to politics for a second. Uh, so my buddy Philip, he wrote a tweet. Progress Toronto, who is a group that boasts lefty candidates and counselors, who I've publicly um, frowned on, I guess is the word, in the past because they take all the credit. They literally wrote a thing going, "We got 8 counselors elected." Like the fucking counselors don't do any of the work themselves. Anyway, Philip writes, Progress Toronto simply points out Bradford's record and absence as counselor. Maybe there'd be less attacks on him if he ever did his job as counselor. 500 DAWs alone should be disqualifying. 500 DAWs is an address. I guess that's a building that has some issues with it. And then me and Phil can always, we can butt heads, but we are buddies forever. I wrote, however, Progress Toronto also boasts that they're the ones who got councillors elected, like the candidates don't do any work, don't do any of the work. They're what is wrong with local grassroots politics. Very disingenuous. And Philip responds, but here I am just talking about how Progress isn't attacking Bradford for his failures as counselor. So it's just weird for this restaurant's social media to think it's some unhinged attack. I guess he was responding to some restaurant or something. And then I wrote back, absolutely, I agree with you that Bradford has things he needs to explain himself on, but Progress TO is not a saint. They have their own agenda when it comes to any conservative or conservative leaning candidate in municipal politics. And then Philip responds, frankly, I think a lot of people have sort of lost perspective on Progress Toronto. Saw someone refer to them as a terrorist entity. Laugh my ass off. You don't have to like or agree with the guys to know how ridiculous that is. I agree with that. It's not a terrorist entity. Um, I do think that they're very politically motivated. That's how far I'll go. Okay. I did it again. Fuck. All right. Let me see here. Oh, replies. All right. Oh yeah. Let's talk about this fucking guy. Some guy named Noah Gilbert, if that is indeed his real name. WWE fans, I want to hear from you. Genuinely, with the direction WWE is going in, how can you get emotionally invested in the product when your favorites who are in active storylines can just be cut for no good reason? You know, it's funny. He hates WWE, but he can never get WWE out of his fucking mouth. He's an AEW sicko through and through. He literally, I think this was the same guy. He literally said, "Well, I couldn't make it to the first All In, but I bought a ticket because I wanted to support." Like, like Tony Khan needs the money. You guys act like Tony Khan if you don't support the pay per view or you don't buy, you don't buy a ticket to an event, even if you're not in the fucking town, that he's gonna go broke. Do you see how ridiculous that sounds? He will never go broke. He never has to have a budget. He never has to make a profit because of Shad Khan, his father. He can literally turn AEW into community theater, which pretty much is what it is. And he could stop charging. He could stop if he wanted to, this smart. If he wants to establish an attendance record, he could stop charging and let people come in for free raise, and it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. That is the kind of shit I'm talking about. This Noah Gilbert is so disingenuous, so full of shit. It just it irritates me that this guy and he's trying. Yeah, I just I can't stand this guy. So we went back and forth, and I said to his original tweet, I said, "You don't want to hear shit. That's why you block everybody. You're so disingenuous and a straight up liar." And he said, "I rarely block people." And to which I clapped back, "If anyone talks negatively about AEW, that's exactly what you do. Why don't you focus your energy on WWE to begin with? There's a lot of stuff wrong with AEW, starting with TK being in charge." Let me see here. And then I wrote, "Come back to me when Dynamite is on YouTube." Uh, and then let me see. Some guy wrote, some guy wrote, You didn't even have to comment." And another guy told me something about save the oxygen or something. And I said, "You see what I mean? You're more interested in attacking me or WWE than commenting on the AEW things put in front of you." um, and then I think someone's comment was deleted or whatever because I think they clapped back. And then I wrote, "I meant in general and don't act like I'm wrong. Anytime people shit on AEW, you guys get petty. Just don't like being called out. I hope you enjoy Dynamite on YouTube." And yeah, again, more comments got deleted or whatever. And the next one is mine, in which I write, "Thank you all for proving my point. You just throw insults instead of talking about what's wrong with AEW. Keep proving me right." Uh, ch- 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 anyway, these sickos are, hey, they're part of the IWC, I suppose. Whatever. Fuck them. What happened this week on wrestling? Let me see what I remember from Raw. Sol Ruka came out and signed her contract, and she's gonna get into it with Becky, so we'll look forward to that. No CM Punk this week. We'll see what happens there. I'm trying to remember. That's right. So, I mean, the whole Braun and Seth Rollins thing. I mean, we'll see what happens with that. Um, I'd like to get Braun Breaker away from Seth Rollins. Seth's had the title, whatever. He needs to settle into the role that AJ Styles had. Former champion who's, just going to be there now. It's time. It's Gunther's time. It's Jacob Fatu's time. It's going to be Oba's time soon. New champions crowned. I'm looking forward to that. The main event of Backlash, Roman versus Jacob Fatu. Am I the only one who's crazy to think that they could switch the title to Jacob? It's possible. So we'll have to see what happens with that. And then SmackDown, you know what? I didn't watch SmackDown, to be honest with you. So I don't really, um, I don't really have any comments about SmackDown. Now, going forward, I'm going to be getting interviews from candidates. So we're going to go with that. I am going to start trying to start watching AEW, because again, I didn't watch it because it's AEW. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say, but I will start watching it, and we'll go from there. And we'll exciting things are on the horizon. I promise you that, and we'll see what happens. But thank you guys for tuning in to this episode, Populism and Power Bombs, and we'll see you guys next week.